am Raymond Sharp, and this is my lovely wife,
Tanesha Sharp.
and we are here to jump in. We want to welcome you back to Jump In. This is the time where we just talk candidly, openly, and honestly about life, family, relationships, and helping everyone overcome their fears, their failures, and their frustrations. We are very excited about today's topic. Today, we're going to talk about relationships, but we want to do it in a way that's going to be more, I guess you can say, introspective. We want to look at you. So many times when we have issues in our relationships, we like to look at the person we're with, look at their family, and assign blame. But we are come to a time where, we can start to track our successes and our failures in our relationships. And if we really look at your relationship, if you're continually having the same issue in your relationship, you can track actually the issue back to yourself. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to jump in, so to speak, in that topic, because sometimes, we have issues in our relationships because of who we choose to be with. Mm-hmm. One thing that kind of, bothers me sometimes is when people talk about, oh, this is my type. But if you keep having an issue with your type, who's making the bad decision? Sure. Are people treating you wrong, or are you having issue because of your choices? Sometimes I tell people this, and I tell my wife to tell the ladies to stop doing this. Sometimes, even when you're in the kind of talking phase, getting to know somebody, you give the person the playbook on how to play you without even realizing it. And, you share too much, you do too much. And basically you tell someone, well, I'm looking for, if a man does this, this, and this, or if a woman does this, this, and this, these are the things I look for. As long as they do that, I'm good. So someone can be terrible, but hit those three things that you're, hold near and dear to your heart, and then turn around and you're like, man, they was perfect because they did this, this, and this, but really they just did what you gave them the play to do. It's kind of like, the other team got your playbook, they know all your plays when it comes, and then it's like, man, how do they figure this out? You gave it to them freely, So just want to talk about that. We are really at a place, and this is why it's so important, even as adults. Our children are watching this. They're watching how we move. They're watching what we say. They're watching what we do. And they also are learning from our mistakes. And one thing we don't want to do is to teach our children how to sabotage their relationships because of how they watch us. Mm-hmm. And if we're truly honest, we can say that, I'm looking back on my relationships prior to my wife, and don't want to look back that far. But even, some of the mistakes I've made with my wife, I can say that was my fault. Even though it on the surface it's going to be perceived that I can blame her, but really what, I need to take responsibility for that. If I didn't do this, it wouldn't have led to that. So let's take a moment today to hold up a mirror to ourselves. Absolutely. And see what's going on.
Absolutely. I really didn't start really doing that until I met you. If I can be honest, I gave the playbook. I did all those things that you said. Yeah, okay. I did.
She didn't give me the playbook though.
No, I didn't. Well, see, look. Okay, so for one, remember when we met you, mm-hmm. I didn't come out and just tell you out front, but eventually I told you that you weren't typically my type.
That's true. Yep.
So when you talk about types, really letting go of your type, because I think I was falling in that cycle. Now that you said that, mm-hmm. I feel like that was the mistake that I made. So then when I began to just allow love to just happen, without it being my type, you're my type now.
Oh yeah.
Physically, everything that a lot of things that he wasn't before when we first met, he is now. And so not that I changed him or he, it just happened mm-hmm. that way. Mm-hmm. He knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. So so don't get stuck on having a certain type. Have standards.
Of course, have standards.
That's a difference.
Big difference.
That's a difference. Yeah. Have standards. Really have standards, because you're talking about this is the rest of your life, especially if you're dating to marry. This is somebody that you are considering to share your life with. Mm-hmm. To become one with, I don't even want to say deal with for the rest of your life, but just someone that you are going to just spend the rest of your life. You really have to think about that. And so.
Yeah, I was also going to say too, and one thing that as I got older and once we had children, mm-hmm. I became very aware of what I did, what I said, and how I behaved, mm-hmm. and even how I responded to certain things. And always be mindful of your children as you're making decisions.
They're watching.
If you don't have any other layer of responsibility when it comes to your relationship, even if you don't have children, your little nieces and nephews, little cousins and stuff, somebody's watching you and they want to model their life after you. Someone's looking up to you.
Somebody is.
And you have to be mindful of that. Like, okay, even certain things, it's not bad habits. Some of them are great habits. Some of them, I'm like, oh, shoot, that's me. And I'm looking at my kids and I got to check that because I was doing, certain things, similar things at their age that are like a little bit like, not I'm older, like, okay, I was being annoying. I was being a little brat about this or that, or, certain things I got to kind of fine tune with them. But at the same time, how would you feel if someone took on all your bad habits? Because usually when we kind of pseudo mentor people without realizing it, and what I mean by that is there's people that we mentor that we don't realize we're mentoring. They're just soaking up everything we do and say, and they hold it in high esteem, and they want to do exactly act like we do. They want to dress like we dress. They want to act like we act. They want to, whatever it is that we are, they want to embody that essence. No good, bad, or indifferent. And, sometimes, there's certain habits and traits that we even picked up. And if you really ask yourself why, it's like, I was trying to emulate this. I was trying to emulate that. It can happen in person. It can happen, even with celebrities. We'll look at them as like, oh, I want to dress like this, or I want to live out these lyrics or stuff like that. And I've been there before. I'm not throwing it aside, but I do know enough to say that you need to check that and correct it and kind of do a little, hey, and even deprogram, and I spent time doing that with some people, some kids I used to mentor when, I changed my life and I'm like, whoa, I got to adjust and correct and, deprogram some of this stuff. I told some of these boys that I was like, look, I was wrong when I told you to do that. I was wrong when I, and make sure that, hold yourself accountable for what you're saying. So be careful. And it's like, and it's sadly, sometimes when that happens, they sponge more bad habits than good.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hurtful part of it. It's like,
especially
man,
when you see it and you're like, oh.
Yeah. So just I think you should be careful with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the best things that has really helped our relationship and marriage. Just even me personally taking a mirror and looking at myself. I've grown, I've matured when I began to take my own responsibilities. Take responsibility of my own. Just bad habits, and so to me, I am a better person because of it. Like, it's so much stuff that comes with just, taking and owning, everything that good, bad, or, indifferent. So, I'm a better person because of it. I feel like, and I'm grateful for our relationship that has helped me to get to where I am when it comes to stuff like that, like put it this way, it's a safe place for me to like, just, even when it comes up, like, you don't like even if I'm doing something that's like, and you question like, why would you do something like that? We have our conversations, especially early on. And then it made me really think, why am I doing that? Like, why do I have that bad habit? And I'm just grateful for you not making me feel a certain way, and just not judging me, allowing me to grow.
So this is a good,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not trying to cut you off, but I think it's a good, like, a point of, I guess you could say, transition into, sometimes we talk about this all the time. It's like with marriage, I don't think people understand their responsibility to their spouse beyond just, some people say, okay, I cook, I clean, I provide, I'm faithful. Okay, that's great. And I had to get to a point where I'm like, okay, even though those things are considered expectations, everyone doesn't live those expectations. So it's good that people do that, but what is your responsibility to help your wife overcome their challenges? Some people use those things as reasons to get rid of their spouses. They say, I don't want them because of this. It's like, no, what are you going to do to help them out? When you say you commit to someone, you commit to all of them, not just a part of them, not the parts that you like, not just the parts that make sense to you, not just the parts that sometimes you agree with. Sometimes even in our disagreements, some people look to leave relationships in marriages because they disagree, and they're the one that's in wrong, not the other person. But when someone sheds light, it doesn't always feel good to be in that place where someone's holding up a spotlight to, hey man, you might want to work on this. But I would say if you are holding up a spotlight and you are, one thing I always endeavor to do And Tanesha will tell you this. I don't just say, hey, you need to work on that. I'm like, what can I do to help you with that?
Yeah.
I can't say never, but I always try to do my best not to leave her alone to work on something.
True.
Like, this is our issue.
Yes.
We are one. We're in this your unit, your team. What she goes through affects me, affects the kids.
Yes.
It affects the house. It affects my focus. I want things to be well with her. So what can I do to make you well in this area? What can I do to take that burden off? What can I do to, do whatever it is that can help, you overcome that particular challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing that's helped us a lot in the time that we've been together. And I think that's something that I think should be encouraged, because people are looking for ways out, not ways through.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's it.
How can I help you get through this so we can look back? And I think that's one thing.
It. That's helped our marriage. Yeah.
I think that's another thing that's helped us, because we've had so many places where we're like, man, I remember when you helped me with this.
Yes.
I remember when you helped me overcome that. And it helps with so many different areas in our marriage.
Yeah, because no one's perfect. Like, there's going to be issues, bad habits, all that, and, you have to look at, the person that you're getting ready to spend the rest of your life with, or spending the rest of your life with, as somebody that you can just take to the next level. We talk about this all the time, take them to the next level. And if you don't have that mindset and you want to marry that person, you know what I'm saying? Or if you be like, well, no, we're not telling you to take on a project, like a whole big assignment. Like, I wasn't a project, he wasn't a project, but there was little things that needed to be, that needed to be fine-tuned. But I'm not by no means saying take on a whole, like, raising a child. Mm-mm. We're not telling you to raise a child.
Not at all. They
should, there's things that as an adult, you should know. And if you don't know and you're single, these are the times to work on it. There's YouTube, there's mentors, it's no more of an excuse to say, well, I just didn't have, I didn't have a role model.
I'm going to talk about mentors for a second.
Okay.
I think sometimes we pick the wrong mentors.
Okay.
I think we go to people and we see them and say, I want to be like you, mentor me. But we're not really putting ourselves in position to be taught. We're not putting ourselves in position to be challenged. And we're not putting ourselves in position to be checked. If you have a mentor and they're not doing those three things, they're not a mentor.
They're not a mentor. If that's your friend.
That's your friend. and it's cool.
That's your friend.
It's cool
fine.
to be around them. You want to be in their space. They're cool. They may have a great personality, but a mentor will, allow you to stand on their shoulders.
Yes.
A mentor will check you. I'm gonna go back to this being checked. If you can't, when I say check, can someone correct you without you being offended by them?
And it's mostly in love. Like, we ain't talking about somebody just but it's in love, because
to get you where you want to go.
Yeah, because they see you going in a different direction and they're just trying to make it. Go ahead.
Yeah, another thing too, if a mentor should not be on your same level.
Yeah, that's true.
You need to find someone like, man,
who's been there, done that.
I have to step my game up to get here.
Who's where you want to? They're where you want to be.
Yeah, and I would say where you want to be, but not what you want to seem. Because some people want to seem like this person, or seem like they have this certain level of whatever, but it's no substance to it. It's a form of it, but it's no substance.
That's good.
And so we have to move from the appearance of things to being people of substance. So that's the challenge. Like, is this person going to make me really produce what I appear to have?
And most of the times that comes with them challenging you.
Exactly.
If they've never been challenged, it's not the real thing. Mm. It's not the real thing.
I would say this too, also with mentors. Find out what they've overcome. Ask them what they overcome. What are some of your challenges? What have you had to overcome? And if they can't tell you that they've overcome anything, that's not a person that you want to mentor you. Yeah. Because we all
when it comes down to
need to overcome our challenges.
When it comes down to it, and you come to them with your challenge, or if they're not willing to be transparent about that.
Yeah, if they want to hide.
Some people may not want to share that.
Some people's stuff they overcome is ugly, and so they have to be willing to share and say, hey, look, this is what I came out of. This is what I came through. This is what I had to endure. And you need somebody that's willing to do that, because in those stories, and being transparent,
really, because it shows that you're not like what you're going through is not abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's normal what you're going through. You know, they'll tell you that, you know, and these are the, you know, this is how you get out of it, and this is what you do, and they're able to what? What's so funny?
No, I was thinking about, you know what I told you what happened on, I think it was, what's today, Thursday? Tuesday. Remember I said, oh, I got a call, I got a teleconference with my guys down in, you know, and I had a situation pop up, and I'm grateful for the people that mentor me because they always pop up. I'm telling you, they'll pop up right on time. Someone popped up like, hey, what you working on? And I was able to share with them, hey, look, these are the challenges I have. Oh man, he said, okay, have this happened yet? I'm like, no. And he
That's
was like,
what a mentor will already know what's
he was
going
like,
to
hey,
happen.
you know, he said, yeah, you're wasting your time unless this happens. Okay, cool. He said, yeah, Raymond, been there plenty of times. Learned a lot of lessons from this. You know, I've been there, but I also learned how to vet this, and this. In this situation, these are the questions you ask. This is who you need to get them to. I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, it took several months of me working to get to that point. However, I'm at that point. And this last teleconference I had with them was to make some things definitive, but I felt like there were some things missing, and he helped close those loops for me. So
that's what mentors
that's what
do.
mentors do. And he
that
just,
makes them valuable.
Immediately, he was like, oh, no, go back. That right there needs to be addressed. I'm like, oh, okay. He broke it down. I said,
they
thank
can
you.
quickly identify and quickly, you know, they've done it over and over again, or, you know, they've been there. So that's what you want. That's what you're really looking for, not somebody who appears, because sometimes those who look like they are somebody that you would like to be like may not really have it. So just don't be blinded by the, I don't know, the facade. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Another thing too. One thing.
It's a long video.
I don't know why. This is gonna be the last thing I'm gonna say. I'm gonna drop it.
Do part 2.
Yeah, we might need to do part 2. But this is the last thing. One thing, and this is not to say that there's certain people, and I'll ask. I specifically ask people over the age of 65. If you were my age,
what would you do?
What would you be doing that you did not do when you was my age? And I just let them talk.
I just let them. Alive.
Yeah. And actually, the first person who ever did that for me was my wife's father, my father-in-law. He was like, Raymond, he used to always, when we first got married, you know, my father passed away when I was young, well, not young, but like I was in my early 20s. So like, you know, I've had very few men that I could actually sit down and talk to me on a certain level. And he used to always say, yeah, Raymond, I used to, you know, I wish I would have did that differently. I wish it, man, you know, that's good right there what you're doing, because when I was your age, I started that and I just didn't finish it. But there's been other things that, I started this when I was my age, and this is what it did. I'm like, man, that's awesome. So and it wasn't just, it was financially, it was other things. He gave me some great insight and wisdom, but I always, after that, I'm like, you know what, I need to seek out some older people whenever I'm in their space, and they're, you know, everybody's not willing to open up to you. When you find some people that just, you know, want to open up, ask them questions that, you know, that will give you some insight, like, man, okay, maybe I need to shift my focus in this area, or I'm focusing too much on this and maybe focus on that. That within itself will help you get to a whole nother level as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to come back and finish talking. I hope this helped you in so many different ways, on so many different levels. If you know anyone who needs help in this area, please share this video. And until next time, we want to jump in. Have a wonderful evening.
Y'all take care.
Bye.